Hello, guys. Welcome. Happy Monday night. I was about to say happy Wednesday night. Have you ever had one of those days where you have lived 4 or 5 days in one day? Yeah, we've all been there. That's been me. And I'm sure that it's been more than just me. A couple of you guys may be out there tonight. So I've got two special guests there waiting in the green room. But first, I want to show you we're in the national spotlight, you guys. North Carolina is in the national spotlight for groomer schools. Terrible thing to be known for. But if you saw Glenn Beck last week, you probably caught this.
Surrender. There is no neutral ground here. There is no neutral option. There is no choice but to fight it unless you're for the things I show you tonight. We are up against something that has been so well planned out, but we can change this if we stand up and wake up. I'm going to show you more on this later, but this is a questionnaire that is part of one public school system's gender support plan. This is to be given to kids as early as kindergarten. Notice the box, students assigned sex at birth. And then the other box right next to it for the student's gender identity. Now, this goes on to establish a point of contact for the student to have people at the school the student can get counsel from regarding their gender identity. It specifies whether the child's family is aware of any of this and what the school should do if the parents aren't aware or aren't supportive. Let me just say this. If you had a family member, let's say a creepy uncle, that had your third grader alone and said, listen, we're just going to talk about things like your gender and sex, and we're not going to tell mom and dad. That's a family member. That family member would be lucky to escape my house alive. This is an entire system doing this to all of our kids. Teachers are actively discussing gender identity to kids as early as 5 years old. Not only that, keeping it secret from the parents is part of the plan. Let me ask you something. What couldn't you convince a 5-year-old? If you wanted to, if you had some kind of ulterior motive, couldn't you convince a 5-year-old damn near anything? This is grooming. You don't establish those kinds of relationships. Now, if you think your kids are safe in states that are generally considered the Bible Belt, think again. This is everywhere. Hanover Title IX coordinator who claimed he got it from a university and adapted it for K through 12 students. So something meant for adults is now being used for your kindergartner. This form is from another school in North Carolina. It specifically states there should be measures taken to conceal information from parents while the school continues gender identity treatment. Is this happening to your child right now? There is no way of really knowing because the school is being told to keep it secret. Now consider this. And then keep in mind the views of our new Supreme Court justice in giving light sentences to sex offenders. But surely that can't be the views of the mainstream Democratic Party, right? Well, here is Dick Durbin.
All right. So, guys, first of all, that was our reporting and from Glenn Beck, and we appreciate that. Did a whole special on grooming, and we have two people, heroic moms on the front lines, both in New Hanover, which Glenn Beck talked about, and in Orange County. So first, I want to acknowledge Melissa Mason, who is running for school board in New Hanover. Tip of the spear there, as you're aware. Unbelievable. And then Gretchen from Moms for Liberty, Orange County. And I feel comfortable telling people my nickname for you is Gretchy Poo. I don't know why, but that's That's the nickname. And so, toward the end, Gretchen, Glenn showed the actual gender support plan that came out of Orange County. And I want to tell everybody listening that teachers brought that to us. So we have many, many teachers who are helping us. But before we get started, I've had to say this for the last 3 days, Melissa, really because of you and because of our interview. And I'll explain that a couple of weeks ago. And we're going to play a little game. Got to moderate because there is a strange coalition of, and I'm not kidding you, strippers, boudoir photographers, orgy coordinators, didn't know there was such a thing, there is, union teachers and school psychologists who have banded together in order to censor us, dox us, and just generally be a-holes because they, and to me, guys, is this not further evidence of grooming? If you think about it, this kind of motley crew coming together to defend what we just heard.
Oh my gosh, it's awful. Why? Where did they come up with an orgy coordinator?
That was a new one. Apparently, there's such a thing. Yeah, it's a swingers, and there's a coordinator who coordinates. And so what we're going to do is play a little game. If someone leaves a rude comment, and I actually know the background of the people because we investigate people, I'm going to let the audience guess which one it is because the comments coming from these guys are virtually indistinguishable. We'll play a little game. All right. So Gretchen, when you saw this from Glenn Beck, what was your reaction? Because you've been in the fight. You've been dealing with this for almost a year now.
Yeah. So, we had read the policy. We saw that document actually last month in our chapter meeting or earlier this month. And I mean, just some relief that, it's getting out there, it's getting national attention. What we're finding is we have to overcome the people in our county that are just listening to what the school board is saying, or just listening to what people are saying that just want to call names and not actually look at the issues. But when people are actually able to see for themselves these documents and the books and the policies, the wording in the policies, then, we see people with their mouth dropping, they just can't even believe, oh, this is what you guys were talking about. Yeah, this is real. This is not okay. This is what we've been trying to talk about. It's not just a bunch of crazy parents like with nothing else to do. So, I mean, I was just happy that, it's finally getting out there, and there's going to be a point where enough people get woken up, hopefully.
How about you, Melissa? I mean, you and I did a Facebook Live 2 weeks ago and got some priceless responses. How has things been going for you out there in New Hanover County? And let's put this in context, guys. New Hanover County has the dubious distinction of being in a recent documentary about the covering up of sex crimes going on in school. There have been at least 13 employees over a decade who have been fired or have left their jobs for sexually abusing children in schools while it was hidden by the school board and various other people in the schools, right? And so you've got this policy that says, we're going to transition your child. We're not going to tell the parent, and we're going to do it with an adult besides the parent in the school. I mean, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been getting like mixed responses to it. I have so many people that are like, this is actually happening here, like in our little itty bitty county in North Carolina. How is this even possible? And they're shocked and they're upset, and parents are getting angry about it. And then I have, the other side that are, well, you're just fear mongering and you're just sensationalizing and bringing back the grooming title. And I'm like, no, this is exactly textbook grooming. When you have a kid who has a secret from their parents, no, we teach my children, we don't have secrets with other adults. We have surprises. We don't have secrets. So it's disgusting. And it's a mixed bag here in New Hanover too.
It really is. I want to put up some reactions that we had. And by the way, I mean, I've had a good old time trolling these people. Here are some actual comments from teachers. And I think, by the way, this isn't all teachers. It's not even most teachers. It isn't even some teachers. It's a minority of teachers who are going to let this stuff happen. This is literally this is how they think. Parents who don't want their children to learn about their anatomy, of course, we're not talking about anatomy, are perpetrators. Is this asinine? In a civilized society, we all take responsibility for keeping people safe. No, they don't. No, we don't. So this is actually legit how they think. And so you know, how do you even reason with people like that, Gretchen? I mean, it's and they're, you know, this is by no means just New Hanover.
Well, it's either you know, that comment either shows that someone is very in the dark about what's actually taking place, very unknowing or clueless about what's happening, or isn't ready to have a conversation in good faith. Because no one has talked about, that I know of, who's against pornography in school and who's against these gender policies. No one has said a word about not teaching children their anatomy. That is actually a very important thing, to teach children the correct names of anatomy, because, I mean, you could have a whole nother discussion. I just spoke tonight at our school board meeting about Feather Burkauer, who's a nationally recognized and globally recognized creator of Parenting Safe Children. And she tells some very disturbing, sad stories of children who have been told to use like slang or just different creative type of words for their body parts. And then they're trying to get help and tell someone that something bad is happening. And the adult doesn't get the message because they're using some word that the adult doesn't understand, referring to a body part. That's very dangerous. And that has never even been part of the conversation. So I'm not sure what Christy's talking about. And, you know, people like that, it's like, do you really have the best interests of children in view? Because, I mean, what parent, I don't know any parent who isn't trying to teach their children correct body parts. We're not talking about biology. We're not talking about anatomy. We're talking about indoctrinating children about identity and gender, going against, circumventing parents on what they feel in their own conscience to teach their children, and putting this color over everyone, and then encouraging them by the mere fact of teaching them from a kindergarten. Oh, well, if you're having problems in your life, you know, if you're having mental distress or social ails, which like every child goes through, maybe it's because you were assigned the wrong birth or the wrong gender at birth. You know, that's what we're talking about.
Right. And separating the parents. Yeah, the parents don't have it right, you guys. Trust me, the teacher, I do. I mean, you know, incredibly dangerous stuff here, as we're acknowledging. How dangerous? Well, let me present this. This is about a third of the mugshots of teachers who have actually been arrested for perpetrating sexual crimes against children. This is just the last 2 years. And if you consider last year, schools weren't really in session. Okay. And I don't know, one thing that, you know, really impressed upon me when I saw this is that, you know, this could be either black, they're white, they're men, they're women, they're young, they're old. So when we talk about teaching children and indoctrinating them sexually, and we hear this BS about, don't believe all teachers, and teachers are the pillars of community. That's bull. In fact, the same people, you know who the same people are that's telling us this, are the same people that denigrated every single cop and said all cops are bastards. These are the same people. Again, most teachers aren't saying this. So, not even some. A minority of people are saying, believe all teachers, believe all teachers. Should we believe the ones we just saw? It's absolutely preposterous. And let me tell you the kind of flack, Gretchen, that we took, in case you haven't seen it. So in fact, this is in Cabarrus County. We were trolled unbelievably. And this particular teacher advocated for doxing us. It's or actually having us censored. Jacqueline Goldstein of NCAE in Cabarrus County. She didn't like the fact, right, that we were, Melissa, talking about letting the parents have a say in all of this. This is preposterous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's nuts. And I believe this one I'm going to show you. Yeah, this is Jacqueline Goldstein. We got, 20 of Jacqueline's friends who came in onto our Facebook, and, they ran into a buzzsaw with me because I let them have it on all fronts. What exactly is it? I asked, what exactly is it that you have against parents being notified about these questions being asked? By the way, I don't know if this would surprise you or not. I never got an answer. None of our business. And let me tell you, Amanda thinks it's none of our business. I want to tell you this, guys, what the government is doing with other people's children behind closed doors is everybody's business. It's everybody's business. We're not going to shut up. We're not going to sit down. We're going to continue this, Gretchen. I'm getting ready to show, I'm trying to look for this. I'm getting ready to show what's really preposterous. Let's see if I have it up. Oh, no, that's not it. That's not preposterous. I'm going to show, if I can, the video of you passing out information about grooming in the car line and one of the school board members losing her, about doing that. Yeah. So, it's completely, but before I do that, I can't find it. Before I do that, I'm going to talk about this story because it's absolutely connected. So, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools, it was the last, Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools was the last school that we caught doing this. Orange County was the first, and then you're in the middle, actually, Melissa, just like you are tonight. And so our team began to look at, these plans are virtually indistinguishable. Where are they coming from? They're coming from a company called Gender Spectrum. Now, let me tell you about them. We looked into Gender Spectrum and saw, well, Pearson Education is their number one financial sponsor. Pearson Education is the largest education company in the world. You look at Florida, all those books they banned, a lot of them are Pearson, right? We said, wow, Pearson. And wouldn't you know, Pearson just brought on the former 14-year chairman of Disney International to head up Pearson. And what did he do? His first act, his first order in business was to enact a gender policy that all the textbooks were going to have. So when you talk about Pearson now having this gender support plan, the ones exactly that Glenn Beck saw, the ones we're finding, Melissa, what do you think that we're going to do? You're running for school board. How are you at the school board level? How can you stop this from getting into the classroom?
And it's across all of the curriculum too. So we have to get rid of the curriculum. We have to either create our own or find a new avenue, because this is not going to continue. As long as I am on a school board, this is not going to continue, not just for my own children, but for any of the children that enter into New Hanover County schools. It's grooming, it's abusive, and it's awful. And it has to be removed. And the fact that a company that big and that Disney's part of it is really disturbing and quite disgusting that they're preying on these kids. These are our kids. This is our future. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable.
Well, and the commercializing also, it's everything that has been proven for decades and needed to teach children to read already exists. Mm-hmm. The proven techniques already exist. They've worked for my children who I have special different learners, and they help all children learn how to read. Orton and Gillingham has everything that's needed to teach children how to read. It doesn't take millions of new dollars spent on these textbooks, and it's all about spreading a certain agenda and the money for these textbook companies, and nothing is about the best for the children in mind or the families. And that's, it just has to be broken. And we haven't even, that was my intent with starting Moms for Liberty in Orange County, was I just wanted a team to help me figure out what the heck was going on with the curriculum in this county, because it's just like impossible to get anyone to give you a link to anything, to find anything. So I was like, I can't do this alone. I need some help. And we have been having so many things come up in our face that we haven't even really been able to spend too much time to get into the curriculum yet. Just things just keep popping up that we're addressing. So I mean, I think I'm really thankful for what Florida did, because they spent a lot of money and a lot of time creating a list that we can now, save some time and effort and just see, okay, like let's compare that list against if we can find what we have, going on here. Yeah. Parents just need to know. They just need to see it. We just have to spread the word, like far and like this is their kids reading, and they're sometimes they're not bringing the books home. They're reading online. So it's hard to access.
Gretchen, I think we're getting a bad connection. So okay, I think there you are. So I just want to show you gender spectrum is what we're talking about here. And the reason why we're talking about it, it's got a direct connection to Disney. By the way, Pearson Learning is funding this gender spectrum, which is these gender support plans. Pearson Learning is also a partner of Disney's. It is its publishing partner. So we got a lot going on, right? We got a lot going on. So let me show this to you. Let me see if I can make it really, really big here. All right, let's see. Yeah. So you're looking at gender spectrum. You're looking at the story on that. I'm going to put that right in the chat box in a second. But I want you to see something. Okay. So the CEO or the head person who formed Gender Spectrum, she wrote a book, and the first of its kind transgender book for children and teens. And you'll see that her advice isn't exactly following science. She's indicating here, which has been disputed by the American Academy of Pediatrics, that there are no medical options available that allow your teen's adolescent body to effectively push pause button for a puberty change. That would be, okay, puberty blockers, a fully reversible plan to put pause on puberty and don't lead to permanent changes. We know that this is not true. Absolutely not. So when we look at what Gender Spectrum, by the way, this organization brings in tens of thousands of teachers every year to train them on how to do this indoctrination all over the country. So this gender snow person, okay, we're seeing, all teachers every year. Whoops. We're seeing all kinds of stuff. Gender snow person. I mean, it was the gingerbread man first. Okay, this. So this is grade 3 through 8. And they want you to tell children, this is grooming, tell children that this bottom square here where you see the star, they can pick their own genitalia according to how they feel. To help students understand that gender identity, sexual orientation, and sex assigned at birth are not binaries but spectrums is the learning goal of this particular exercise. Okay, so absolutely insane. Jacob's New Dress, another one that's teaching that there is no right or wrong. There is up is down. Actually, there is a right or wrong. If you choose to be whatever sex you're assigned at birth, that means whatever God has put in you that you cannot change, that's bad. So these are the type of lessons. And then when you go to their upcoming events, this was the most disturbing thing to me. This is not on the bubble. This is not on the margins, this organization. It's talking about vaginoplasty. I guess that is making a, vagina for males. These are the kind of events they're putting on. I mean, this is hardcore stuff. And if you ask me, it might be, Gretchen, to your point, something to make money with, facial surgery for gender affirming stuff. So, you see this and I'm asking myself, hey, is this just to drum up business for trans surgeries? It certainly seems plausible to me.
It's definitely part of it. Like there's lots of players in it for different reasons, but like we always hear, follow the money.
Well, yeah. And so, Justin, where are they teaching this in schools? We're telling you right here. So we're in North Carolina. It's all over North Carolina. Wherever there's a school, I dare say, they're teaching it, and you need to check. So, Melissa, how do we best find out what the heck is going on in our schools when school boards aren't that forthcoming?
It takes a lot of digging, a lot of legwork, a lot of investigating. And they're not going to share this information. We've made requests. Teachers are pushing back. They don't want to share all of their lesson plans. It's too much work. And so we're pushing for this transparency in what are you teaching our children? We're allowed to know this. It's a lot of legwork, and most parents they don't have the time to do that. They have jobs. They have to take care of their families regularly. And so, with running for a school board and having a family, it takes a lot of work, and I am tired, but it is the digging that is, that's really going to get it to the other parents. Like, I'll do the work for them. I have no problem doing that. But these information requests are being ignored, left for months, and just not answered. So.
Well, so we do at Education First Alliance, we do a lot of these stories, and we work with national partners, as you're well aware. Epic Times is one of our partners, Daily Wire, Daily Caller, all kinds of partners to kind of elevate, because we don't have a lot of local media that will cover this, right? And so we cover it. We do the digging. Gretchen, you're the FOIA queen. You have done quite a few, and we say FOIA, but I want to make a distinction for the audience. In North Carolina, if you're looking at the state or local level, it's called open records request because it's under the domain of the general statutes in North Carolina. If you're doing a federal document request, that would be a FOIA. That would be, for instance, Department of Education, something like that, right? Mm-hmm. And so, so doing that, and you have to stay on them, as you intimated. So this is a story of the Disney story. It's absolutely critical that you share this. Critical. I would imagine, and I checked, you guys. I checked to see if Pearson has a lobbyist here in North Carolina. They do. Mm-hmm. There are 19 different entities that have lobbyists who are lobbying against us up at the General Assembly. 19, and we have 3 or 4 lobbyists, and all they lobby for is charter schools. We're it. We're the one. We even have the U.S. Chamber, Gretchen. That's something I didn't expect. But the Chamber is also lobbying for things that are against what we're trying to do here. And now, by the way, do you think the Chamber of Commerce wants the General Assembly to put up bills to stop this?
Probably not, if we're talking about money. It's like what, 15 years ago, it was all the technology, and I saw so many teachers leave because they said this isn't how kids learn. They're not learning from these screens. And that didn't matter because it was about a money deal, and the public education is just the vehicle to pass the money. And so, this is just sad. We have to flip the influence, the trail of influence around from top down to back to the customers that are actually paying for this education, which are the parents and, the business owners in the counties, the taxes that are paying to support it.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because, it's infuriating to the general public to have elites and others involved in creating local policy. It's absolutely infuriating. So I'm going to pick on you, Melissa, or I'm going to pick on your Senator Mike Lee, who I've given hell to, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. What you're looking at is the Hunt Institute, and here's why I'm going to bring it up. Your Senator Lee, and this is very important, everyone in North Carolina, listen up, ding, ding, ding. He sits atop the Senate Education Committee. Okay. So just bear that in mind. He has incredible influence. So the Hunt Institute was the number one in the nation, the number one institute that created a echo chamber of BS to not only sell Common Core, but to sell it and to get complete public buy-in, even as Black and brown students were absolutely failing under the program. Okay, so this is the Hunt Institute. They are pushing transgender classrooms and social emotional learning. And so you've got a Republican, allegedly, in your representing you, Melissa. He's gone unchallenged. That's very distressing to me. Who is not only a board member here, he is singing the praises of social emotional learning, et cetera, and it's all about the dollar. One guess as to who is funding the Hunt Institute at the greatest level. Any guess? Bill Gates.
Yeah, well, that would make sense. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he was the investor of the failed Common Core, and now he's invested in this. Zuckerberg Chan also. But these people, they shouldn't be responsible for education. So that's another special interest group that is absolutely has no business in education and yet has a foothold. So we've got to get around that, you guys. So we've got Hunt Institute working against us. We've got Senator who sits on the education committee working against us, we the people. We've got, who else did I mention? Pearson.
Yep. And all the colleges, a lot of the universities that are training the teachers, the teachers themselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Hunt Institute is training teachers. Tammy, yeah. Is it supposed to be public knowledge? You know, it is, but they make it, Tammy, so that it's so onerous. And because of this digital stuff, right? So, you know, the way that it is for most schools is that if you want to come in and see what's being taught, right? They will let you have to enter into a private room on their terms, and you can spend time looking through the things. But I guarantee you that that's not all that's being taught, right, Melissa? I mean, the digital stuff.
There's so much digital stuff. Like, there's no way that you're going to be able to access all of the information that's being taught to the kids. And because, I mean, I've been an educator. And so when you have curriculum, you have something that you're looking at, a lesson plan, you're not just strictly abiding by exactly what's on that lesson plan. You're, as a teacher, using your own knowledge or sharing your own information to add to that, to supplement whatever the curriculum is having you teach. And so we have no idea what teachers are adding to supplement what is on paper, you know?
Right. So you're running. I mean, so two things are happening. Gretchen, I mean, you guys in Orange County, which, by the way, that is the enclave of UNC Chapel Hill. So a real, you know, Marxist type of situation. You've organized, like, I mean, you guys are a well-oiled machine, man. I mean, you've got QR codes you're giving everybody. You're getting out to all the churches. You even told me there were 53 churches. You know your stuff. You're on it. That's what you're doing to fight this. Melissa, I mean, you've got, you know, you're not only running for office, you are, you know, you've been a teacher, you're a mom, you're a teacher, you're well positioned to do this. And so this will not stop unless we stop it.
Correct.
And what you guys are doing symbolizes what it looks like to stop it. I mean, Melissa, if you had your druthers, would you be running for school board, or would you find something else to do with your time?
I would probably find something else to do with my time, but it's worth the fight, because I'm tired of what's happening with all of our kids. They're failing our kids. And I volunteer at my church. Like, it's not just my kids, it's the kids in my community that are being impacted by this. And it's not, the mama bear in me will not allow me to not fight. It just won't.
Yeah, I'm wearing my Mama Bear shirt, by the way. We sell these, so, you know, and if you, it's got our handy, it's got our handy dandy logo on the side. But yeah, this is who we are. This is what we do. Gretchen, I mean, I saw you, I think it was raining on the day that I saw you at the car pickup line. And I want to encourage everybody to do this. You've got a captive audience of, 100 or so people, right? That you can hit. You were doing it. You were chased by a complete moonbat. Would you rather have been doing something else?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just interesting, when you hear like people, oh, Gretchen Schmit is not a concerned parent, or, these people are, the names that they want to call, like, yeah, I definitely have nothing else to do besides like attend, meetings with these other parents and strategize how we can get the word out to other parents, and reading the board policy manual. Wow, that's like the greatest reading I've ever done. It's so interesting. And that's definitely how I want to spend my time. No, I'd rather be out gardening. I love gardening and, spending extra time with my family. I'm homeschooling one of my children because there's no way I would put my youngest into that scene that's happening right now. And so I just hope parents can critically think for themselves and think like, I wonder, why are these parents at 2:20 in the afternoon running up and down, just like trying to give some information, for them to check out for themselves. And what's interesting is, that school board that was yelling at me, calling me a fascist, all the info that we got, that we have on OCS Truth, either comes from the DPI, from the school board site itself, from school board meetings, what has been shown and shared at the meetings, from teachers themselves, from assignments that kids have, even kids have been appalled at and have brought home and showed their parents. That's what it's all from. So she's in essence calling her own school system that she's supposed to be leading in Orange County fascist.
Yeah. That's it's interesting you say that. I mean, this is how these lunatics think. We spent, I had a great time doing this, guys. We spent about 3 days just posting screenshots of the actual posts that these people have made. And they said, you're bullying. I'm like, you know what? I agree with you. You should take that post down. Those are your words. When these people get a mirror shined up to them, they don't like it. And I think we need to keep doing that. And we need to keep, don't get in an argument. My recommendation, and I recommend that you take this, otherwise you drive yourself completely insane. You cannot argue with someone that, Gretchen, you pointed out, not a good faith engagement, right? Or somebody that just doesn't make sense. You need to treat them like children, because it really is a childlike sort of mental state when you get a quote. Let me just give you an example and just tell you how to handle it, because I want to start giving you guys a lot of how-tos. You got to have that. So when you're getting something like, oh, I don't know, let's see this, children aren't property, they're autonomous beings. Yeah, I would say something like, you just made a fantastic pro-life argument.
Yep.
Definitely.
And then, leave it at that. Drop the mic. Wow, Christy, you and I, in all that you said, we can agree on this. Abortion should be not rare, but illegal altogether. I mean, fair enough, right?
I love that.
Don't take the bait.
No.
Don't take the bait. Just educate these children. But I want to tell you this, do it on a stage. When you do that, you have to do it, because the more people that see you engaging with these people, the more that you're teaching others how it's done. So don't be afraid to engage, on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Don't be afraid to do that. All right. So I want to check in with you guys every few weeks, because I'm telling you, Charlotte Mecklenburg schools, great story. We made a really big difference because the superintendent is gone. He's out of there. Charlotte Mecklenburg is radical. New Hanover and Orange County. These are the three. This is, to me, This is the Fairfax and Loudoun, the two of you right here.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Right. Glenn Beck agrees. So
we're working on
Absolutely.
getting the word out.
Yep. Getting the word out and getting things done. So thank you for tuning in, guys. Tammy, Gaston County. Right. I haven't heard anything in Gaston County. You got Big John Torbett living in Gaston County. He is your rep there. And I think if anything happens there, he would come storming in. And one last one, why not, if a parent asks what my child is doing in class, they should get an honest answer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
You would think. Yep. And there's some teachers that are, I think probably still the majority of the teachers, we get messages from them all the time. You know, I just got one a couple of days ago from a teacher who said, if a parent talks to me about their child, I'm going to use whatever name is being used at school, even when they're told, oh, make sure you use the given name if you're talking to the parents. You know, if it's something that they're trying to keep because the child has a different name at school. And, you know, there's parents who are, the school district is wondering why we're losing so many teachers, or maybe they're not wondering because no, but they're acting like it's just a problem all over the nation, which, yeah, there is teacher attrition all over the nation, but it's much higher in Orange County. We've reached 17 to 19% at some of the schools, which is
wow.
Is and, you know, for one, they don't do exit interviews, but if they did, the teachers would tell them, you're asking us to lie to parents. I'm not going to do that. And there's teachers who have told me, like, yeah, you know, we had 10 more years on the plan, but I'm just retiring because I'm not going to do what either the administration or the school board is expecting, you know, teachers to mislead parents, to mislead kids, and to not actually teach reading, writing, and math.
What a concept, Gretchen, to teach reading, writing, and math. What a concept.
That's racist. That's racist. Haven't you heard?
Of course it is.
You know, kids might actually like gain some confidence and feel empowered and accomplished and overcome some of these social emotional things if they actually were able to learn and read good books and, you know, be able to start to think critically for themselves.
And not be told what to think.
Yeah. But which is the, you know, cornerstone, as you're aware, of indoctrination. And so, again, I want to reiterate, I want to stress this. I want everyone to hear what I'm saying. Teachers are helping us with gaining evidence and pushing back. We have about a third of our coalition are actually teachers. Mm-hmm. They're in Wake. They're in Charlotte. We have 2 board members, actually, who are teachers. They're in Wake. They're in Charlotte. They're in Orange. I don't know if they're in New Hanover. They're in Craven. I mean, I'm not going to name. We got them. Okay, we got them. And, you know, Tammy, so Tammy, you get it. There are books starting to be sent our way. By the way, Tammy, we've got an absolutely explosive report on what's going on at the DPI and preschools. It is disgusting, and it is a follow-up to teaching this horrific deconstructing whiteness that's going on in our school. So I want to leave tonight by telling you that you don't walk, but run and sign up for the first ever anti-woke education conference is in Charlotte. So I don't care where you are. We have people coming in from Virginia. We've got them coming in from South Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. So in other words, everybody's doing it. So it's the Make Education Great Again conference. Don't you love it? We're going to have James Lindsay. Nobody beats James Lindsay. He's on Joe Rogan all the time. He's on Glenn Beck. He's everywhere. He is a wizard at breaking down the grooming. We're going to have the great Congressman Dan Bishop is going to be with us. Max Eden is going to be with us. He is the best-selling author of Why Meadow Died. We'll be talking about discipline issues. We're going to have Mark Robinson's chief of staff is going to join us to talk about policy. And we're going to have John Torbett, who's chairing the education committee out of Gaston County. We're going to have also Senator Ralph Heiss talking about policy. So we're going to leave. You're going to get an education. Steve Bannon will be covering this conference, by the way. So it's something that his audience really, he feels like needs to have. Charlotte, okay, April 30th. It starts at 8:30 and it ends at 2:30, okay? You've got to buy tickets now. There are hotels all around there for $100. Get 3 of your friends, come with 4 of them, right? Come on Friday night, have a little bit of nosh, show up. Got food trucks there. Hell, you may just come for the damn food trucks. And the topics are going to be, guess what? Not really as much CRT, you guys. Social emotional learning, the grooming, the policies around it. And at the end of the day, we're having a super workshop. You don't want to miss it. And it's basically how to talk to progressive morons, right? The way that we're going to do it. Have you ever wanted to joust and not lose your mind and say, I can't believe they think that? You ever feel like that?
All the time.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to learn to joust. All right. So visit our website, edfirstnc.org, edfirstnc.org, buy the tickets, show up. All right. Thank you guys. First of all, thank you for fighting.
Absolutely.
Thank you for, fighting for our children. Thank you for sticking with it when you're called things like fascist, homophobe, bigot, all that stuff. Tammy, do we have a flyer? We do. And we also have the website, but I'll put the flyer up on the website. Thank you for the idea. And yes, so have a great evening. And we're going to have you on again in 2 weeks. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of news for us about what we'll be writing the primaries in about what's going on. And May 7th, that's a Saturday. We're going to be, we're going to be in Wilmington. We're going to have 50 people to knock on doors. It's in downtown Charlotte. Debbie, it's in South End. Okay, it's in South End. Buy your tickets. It's going to be fun. And by the way, fellowship, right? We need to meet. We need to organize. We need to do this. Okay, fellowship, education, fun, food trucks, food trucks, people, food trucks. All right. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.